in the future, most of it will come from the solar sector. At the ISA, we have been proud to associate with the government of Seychelles on developing a solar cold storage system. This system looks at providing cool for the storage of food products, and at the same time do it in a financially and environmentally sustainable manner. The technology used, I think, if I'm not wrong, is the one where solar electricity is used to chill water. And then the chilled water is used round the clock, including at night. We will also be in the beginning signing an amendment to the grant agreement that we have. And I'm delighted that His Excellency, Mr. Flavian Joubert, is here with us today. May I now request him to present a keynote address with a focus on developing solar power in the Seychelles, and I hope especially in the agriculture and cold storage sectors. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, Director General ISA, distinguished guests, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to be here this afternoon to discuss and share with you on an initiative called Opportunities in Seychelles for Scaling Solar Projects. I am honored and privileged to be invited to deliver a keynote address at this high-level event on solarization opportunities in Seychelles, organized jointly by the International Solar Alliance and Seychelles. First and foremost, let me express our sincere appreciation to the government and the people of India and the Director General of ISA for hosting this joint event here at COP27. Seychelles, as we all know, is a very young nation, and we are very proud of what we have been able to achieve so far. But above all of us, and not just Seychelles, hangs a very dark cloud. A major threat is facing our world today, and that is the adverse impacts of climate change. Like many small island states, we are experiencing its impacts, from frequent storms hitting our outer islands to coastal erosion and habitat degradation on the main islands. We, members of the International Solar Alliance, countries of the world, one world, we need to act at this COP and implement the Paris Agreement. We need to commit to the decarbonization of the global economy by reducing and gradually phasing out the use of fossil fuels. Let us not compromise the future of our generation and the generations to come. For Seychelles, transitioning our energy sector to a low carbon one is more than an energy security, is more of an energy security and also economic matter. Almost all our energy comes from imported fossil fuel, which have to be imported, and this accounts for more than 10% of our GDP. Solar power presents an excellent opportunity to strengthen our energy security, reduce our dependence on imported fuel, and provide the country with savings that can be diverted into other sectors. Despite having limited resources, Seychelles has endeavored to clean up the energy sector by accelerating the deployment of renewable energy. Ladies and gentlemen, and I hope there are some ladies in the room, in the last decade, Seychelles has installed a combined solar and wind installations of 21 megawatt capacity. This has enabled us to achieve our renewable energy penetration target of 5%, and we are now looking at a 15% target by 2030 and beyond. And indeed, when we've been discussing about our NDC, the 15% target, once we start the process, we think we can easily overcome that and go beyond 15% and match big countries that are aiming for 50% and more. Unfortunately, the task is daunting, especially given that our islands have limited land. Remaining committed, the country is turning to its vast marine environment for solutions, which we have started to explore. Seychelles is currently developing a 5 megawatt floating PV project in the marine environment, and it will be the first IPP project for Seychelles. We are all fully aware that despite having the technology, the integration of renewable energy to the grid, in particular variable sources, is very challenging. Introduction of variable renewable energy presents a new dynamic to the electricity sector. So it is crucial to ensure that the technical challenges as well as all the challenges are taken into consideration when it comes to deploying renewable energy. The challenges to transform one's energy sector are immense, but so are the opportunities, and we must grasp that before it is too late. To complement our efforts and accelerate the deployment of renewable energy, we will need the support of our partners. On behalf of the government of Seychelles, I would like to reaffirm Seychelles' support to the work of the International Solar Alliance to accelerate the clean energy transition and solar deployment programs like the Green Grid Initiative, One Sun, One World, One Grid. Recently, the government has created a national plan to improve the local contribution of the country's food security status, tending for the agricultural sector to generate more than 50% of what locals consume in order to reduce the issues of food security, which for us became quite apparent during the COVID crisis when airplanes were not flying and container ships were not stopping in Seychelles. But the local producers also experience high post-harvest losses. As a result of recent technological advances, solar-powered cold storage systems have emerged as one of the best ways to reduce post-harvest losses. These systems can also play a significant role in lowering the nation's reliance on food imports and increase our food security. Furthermore, as we are all aware, one of ISA's mandate is to create a global market system to tap benefits of solar power and promote clean energy for the benefit of member states. With this in mind, Seychelles, as a member of ISA, applied to the Secretariat for Technical and Financial Assistance up to 50,000 United States dollars for implementation of solar-based cold storage pilot project, which they responded positively. Therefore, under the International Solar Alliance, we stand to benefit from the installation of a solar-powered cold storage system of capacity 5 metric tons on the third largest island, which is called La Digue. The envisaged project involves a state-of-the-art, compact, solar-powered cold storage unit with a capacity of 5 kilowatt peak capacity, solar-powered, solar-panel rooftop, which will benefit more than 2,500 inhabitants of the island. The cold storage unit will increase the shelf life of fruits, vegetables, reduce food wastage, increase income levels, and provide training and job opportunities to the population of the region. And indeed, we expect this project to help us encourage to be as a flagship project to encourage other farmers to adopt those kind of measures to actually reduce food waste and post-harvest waste in their farming operations. Today, we are going to take this opportunity presented here to sign the amendment to the grant agreement jointly with ISA. As I conclude, I will say that Seychelles looks forward to continue in this type of engagement with the International Solar Alliance, and we reaffirm once again our support to the vision of the ISA. Let us together make the sun shine brighter for all our citizens. I thank you all for your attention, and I look forward to a lively discussion. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for coming to the ISA Pavilion and having this signing the ceremony which we had. I, I'm just going to give a very brief presentation on ISA's activities as a spotlight for Seychelles. Next slide, please. So, just to recap, ISA was actually formed or in a way announced in COP21 in 2015, and it is now COP27. So it's a global platform for cooperation among all the member countries, and the very overarching objective is to have a use of solar energy in a safe, convenient, affordable, equitable and sustainable manner to scale up in all the member countries. This is the only international body which have fully dedicated to solar. Now let me come to what are the interventions which ISA would be offering to the countries. So there is a 3 buckets of offers which we are basically doing. So the key issues ISA would like to address is, one is the energy access issue, energy security issues, and the energy transition. These are the important points which ISA would be helping the countries, and how we are prioritizing our intervention. One is in terms of analytics and advocacy for the countries, capacity building, which is very core to ISA for all the countries, because that is one of the major issues faced by many of the developing countries have to create a proper capacity so that the scaling up can happen in-house. And the third bucket of our intervention is on to programmatic support for especially for LDCs and SIDS countries. These are the very 3 important interventions which ISA is carrying out today. And in terms of key activities, we wanted to see as part of analytics and advocacy to make the countries ready by giving providing the proper policy and regulations are there in the countries. We help them, the countries, to create that, thereby there is a political or the government will to promote the solar. The second set of activities which we'll be doing is how to carry out the risk mitigation and innovative financing instruments. And so this is very critical, and we understand that this is one of the key issues which will be which is required to be available for these countries, so that there is enough confidence created for the investment community, because the money with the government will be always limited and the public finance will be limited. So it has to attract the efficient private investment. And for that, one of the important instruments required is to have a risk mitigation and innovative financing instruments. So ISA is already working on a blended finance facility of $700 million for the Africa, which is under finalization. help the countries to have the investment mobilization, which we are already doing it mainly with the multilateral agencies and also with the philanthropic funds. And finally, to have promotion of technologies, because this is very, very important. The countries are abreast with the technological development so that these technologies are available to the countries. So these are the very important interventions of ISA. Next slide. Okay, so under programmatic support, let me give some more details. Next slide. Currently, ISA is having 9 programs to support the countries, starting from the scaling solar application for agricultural use, affordable finance at scale, scaling solar mini grids, scaling solar rooftop, scaling e-mobility and storage, solar parks, solarization of heating and cooling system, solar PV battery and waste management, which is very, very important for futuristic the challenges in terms of the proliferation of the solar panels and battery. And finally, the very important development which is happening, which is the solar for green hydrogen, which is the promising future of promising fuel of the future. So under programmatic support, we support the countries to have a policy and regulatory related thing, technical assistance to carry out pre-feasibility and feasibility studies, create a pipeline of project and connecting with the funding community, capacity building, knowledge dissemination. We come out time to time with all latest developments happening in the solar sector through the webinars. And we are constantly in touch with the countries to make solar as a preferred source of energy. Next slide, please. Yeah, next slide. Okay, so currently there are the important points which we have already carried out in terms of progress. We had done a very global price discovery bid for solar pumping by making standards for all the different kind of solar pumps that ranging from the DC pump to AC, surface, submerged, all kind of pumps, and we made a very standard specification. We have done a global bidding for the countries, and it has fetched almost 50% price than the market value. And we have actually made this available to the countries. Of course, there are still funding issues. I think we need to find out better innovative solutions so that these pumps could be made available to the farmers. There are pipeline of projects of 9.5 gigawatt, which comprising of solar parks, rooftop, mini grids across almost 23 countries, which we are supporting them. Capacity building has been very important, and this was a slightly earlier figure. So it is more than 2,700 people have been already through virtual mode. We have trained, and will be having more in-person training post-COVID. The things have come into normal. The demonstration project is one of the important things which we have already tied up for 27 countries, which is across various technologies, whether it is solarization of health centers, cold storages, solar pumps, and these are all under various stages of implementation. ISA is already there in all the important platforms, including the COP27, which we are representing there, which I already talked about. 110 countries are part of this alliance as of now. And finally, we are coming out with various analytics reports, which is ease of doing solar reports, solar investment report, global technology report, and market reports. All these things should channelize the countries to make it solar as a preferred source of energy. Yeah. Next slide, please. Coming to the solar cold storages, demonstration projects in Seychelles. Next slide, please. So as Honorable Minister has already talked about, this is under almost final stage. Once this amendment is signed and it will be awarded shortly, which we already talked about. There's a 5 metric ton storage with 5 kilowatts capacity of solar PV system. And the key issue which will address is the high cost and non-availability of storage facility for small holder farmers. So this should increase the shelf life of fruits, vegetables, and dairy products. And this will be benefiting the Farmer Association, and this will be set up in Laddigu Island. So the idea is to have this project so that this should kind of enable the country to have more such thing and finding a better solution or better business model so that there is a commercially these projects are fully established, and that leads to the scaling up of projects in Seychelles. So with that, I'm just closing my presentation. So many thanks for patient hearing. Yeah. Okay, now I would request Mr. Tony to give his presentation on energy scenario in Seychelles. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ministers, DG, ladies and gentlemen, and those joining us live, and those online as well. Good afternoon. My presentation will be on renewable energy in Seychelles. So can we have the presentation, please? Okay. Thank you very much. As you will see on the first slide, is actually the recent hybrid PV plant with storage that was set up on one of the outer island in Seychelles. So just to give you a brief on Seychelles with regards to its transition from current status of highly oil-dependent country to one that will be moving to a more greener energy generation. So we currently at 5% electricity generation from, next slide please. Sorry, we are at 5% electricity generation from renewable energy sources. The peak demand of the country is currently at around 71 megawatt, out of which we have 12.5 megawatt of renewable energy, utility scale, and also distributed as well. And we have 6 megawatt wind project. Next slide. Seychelles has set a target, as the minister said initially in his opening remark, of 15% renewable energy by 2030. But obviously we endeavor to go beyond that target, and under our energy policy target, the intention is to go 100% by 2050. Our recently updated NDC has set an ambition to reduce economic-wide GHG emission by 21.4% in 2025 and 29% in 2030. We also have the National Climate Change Policy 2020, with the key main objective to mainstream and integrate climate change into all the relevant sectors and to achieve a transition to a low carbon economy. We also have done a number of studies. One example is the master plan for development of microgrid on outer island. And as you will see in the first slide, I showed you one of the utility scale project on the outer island that has been implemented and form part of this microgrid master plan on the remote island. So far, the country itself has implemented a a number of projects. As mentioned, we have the 6 megawatt. Next slide, please. We have the 6 megawatt solar farm on Romainville. It's a reclaimed island. And then we have the 6 megawatt Port Victoria wind farm and 6.5 megawatt of distributed energy generation solar PV project, which is installed either on residential or commercial building. And we are currently developing a 5 megawatt floating PV project, which will be the first IPP, but also on track to be the first floating PV on marine environment in Africa. Next slide, please. As mentioned, Seychelles is ready to explore more ambitious goal that is reaching 100% by 2050. But the challenge is there. It's not easy, so we require adequate private and public sector investment, as well as technical support to allow Seychelles to achieve this transition to a low to zero carbon energy sector. The 100% renewable energy plan will not only depend on renewable energy, but a mix of RE project, RE resources from wind, waste to energy, but also we are considering also marine renewable as well. And also other form of technology like storage is one option also we're looking at. From number of analysis and calculation we've done, the transition to 100% RE by 2050, based on the current growth in the electric sectors, will require an addition of almost 454 megawatt of renewable energy between 2021 to 2050. And as you see, this is quite a lot. And for us, it's even more challenging given the limited space on the island. So that's why we also exploring the marine environment to help us achieve this scale of renewable energy required. Next slide, please. To support us with this transition, it is important that we have a very clear and enabling framework in place that includes institutional, policy, and legal framework. It's very important that we do that so we can attract, investors, partners, or the partners to come in and support Seychelles. So in terms of legal framework, what we have is the Energy Act, and of course we have also the PUC Act. These two legislation allow Seychelles to open up the generation sector, to allow third parties to come in and generate electricity from renewable energy source. Also makes provision for us to develop the IPP project through competitive process, and also other provision that will allow or will provide investors comfort in terms of when they invest in Seychelles. There are legislation that will help with things like dispute resolution and so on. On the institutional side, we have the different parties involved. One of the key is to have the political will and commitment, and that is through the Ministry of Agriculture, Climate Change and Environment, who basically provides the policy direction. We have the Seychelles Energy Commission, which is the electricity regulator, currently now transitioning into a multi-sector regulator. And then we have an important player as well, which is the Public Utility Corporation, a key player in facilitating the transition to a low and zero energy, zero emission energy sector. Next slide, please. Oh, that's it. So I won't be talking much about project because I know we have the panel discussion and some of the panelists will be talking more about some of the project that we have in Seychelles and also some of the opportunities and challenges facing different players in the energy sector in Seychelles. Thank you very much. Sorry? Yes, just share it. I will pick up on it, see if you.
Many thanks, Mr. Tony, for giving a very detailed presentation on Seychelles energy scenario. The next in agenda is presentation, overview of the country's plans to boost the agriculture sector. I hope the Principal Secretary, Mr. Nancy, is online. If I can get a confirmation from there. The voice is not audible now.
Okay. You can hear me now.
Yes, we
You can
can
hear me now.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, Minister, DG Isa, PS, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My presentation is with regards to the overview of the country's plan to boost the agricultural sector. And then I'm going to talk about the use of renewable energy in the agricultural sector. So within the framework of the United Nations Food System, the current agricultural sector strategy for Seychelles is being reviewed with a vision to transform our local food and nutrition production landscape to a more self-sufficient system. And we have the mission to ensuring food and nutrition security and sovereignty. So the two of the main underpinning goals are to increase the volume of local production in relation to the total consumptions. That is livestock, local fruits and vegetables, and carbohydrates to up to 50%. And this also includes strengthening the ability of local food producers to adapt to climate change. And with regards to that, transformation of food value chain to build a more productive and competitive local production system is also included. That is under previous policies, we've been encouraging farmers mainly or any other food producers to grow vegetables and increase productions and livestock. But then there is the other phase now, whereby we are concentrating mainly on post-harvest technologies, value additions, so that farmers can make the extra with regards to crop production, because it is through value additions that more income can be made from farm produce. So with that regard, the agriculture strategy is putting emphasis on post-harvest technologies and value addition for both crop and livestock. Hence, cold storage, in the area where most energy is being consumed, coupled with the costing is being involved. That is, most of the farmers who are having value addition or post-harvest technologies, they have on the farms cold storage facilities or freezers, and these consumes a lot of energy, and it is putting a lot on the energy sector also, and also with regards to the profitability of the product that they are going to sell. Hence, with that regards, alternative technologies using renewable energy for cold storage and chillers for farmers are being assessed and promoted for the farming communities so as to increase the shelf life of agricultural products. So cold storage facilities shows the opportunities available to improve shelf life with products such as fruits and vegetables, which are very highly perishable. So to support small scale storage for farmers, because normally farmers will go with the highly perishable product to the market, and then they will not be able to sell the product in one day. So most of the time, this decreases the shelf life, and then you have a high loss of agricultural waste, which is one of the issues that we want to tackle.
Sorry for an interruption. Sorry for an interruption. Can you put it in the PowerPoint mode for the presentation mode? Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. I did not realize.
Sure. Go ahead, please. Yeah.
Okay. So then what we've seen today is the signing of the prototype projects with regards to which is being funded by the Intersolar Alliance. So Seychelles is extending collaboration with external partners, like we've seen today in this case, for research and adoption of appropriate renewable technologies in the livestock sector, which consumes considerable amount of energy in terms of mechanical feeders, like for the pork and the poultry sector, cooling fans, heating lights for the poultry production, with regards to solar panel, which could be installed on the infrastructures. So instead of using electricity from the main grid, those chicken coop and pigsty, they could have a photovoltaic panel on the roof so that farmers can benefit from renewable energies. In the crop sector for the farming community, they are using also a lot of energies, especially those farmers who are living mainly on the hill, on the mountainside. They are pumping a lot of waters. And those from the plateaus on the plains, they are also pumping a lot of water from boreholes and to a much higher elevation. And with that regards, the technology of solar water pump would prove to be the most appropriate technologies. And we must introduce those in Seychelles so that taken into consideration that we have a lot of sunshine in Seychelles, and instead of using petrol water pump or electricity, we can use a solar water pump. With regards to renewable energy in the agricultural sector, the future actions are to increase energy efficiency and promote increasing contributions from renewable energy, especially the development of more energy efficient technology using the alternative renewable energy sources in agriculture. And then enhance actions on appropriate finance technology transfer and capacity building to support action on mitigation and adaptation of climate change within the agricultural sector. Our strategy or plan is also to improve institutional capacity, including capacity building for all stakeholders and bringing technology to the farmers to increase their resilience in climate change. That is, once we have such technologies in the country, we'll definitely have to train the local researchers the agricultural department staff to further train the farmers how to use such technologies, and also so that the farmer can benefit from such technologies. And this will also increase the shelf life of the product and also bring down the cost of the product, because once they are using the conventional electricity from the grid, the product cost will come up. But by using renewable energies, this will bring the product costs to a competitive level. Okay, that's it. So thank you for your attention.
Many thanks, Mr. Nancy, for giving a detailed presentation on the agriculture and the relevance of cold storages in Seychelles. Now, with that, we are through with the three presentations, and now we will have a small panel discussion. I would, for the panel discussion, I will invite Mr. Joel Valmont, CEO of Public Utilities Corporation. And Mr. Nancy, in any case, he is already there. I will also invite Cindy Alexander, the Seychelles Energy Commission. And finally, I was looking for a private supplier. I don't know, I'm not sure. Somebody has joined, right. So now my question will be to Mr. Joel Valmont, the Public Utilities Corporation. Considering the situation in Seychelles, what are your sense in terms of increasing the energy mix with more solar and without affecting the overall pricing of the power in Seychelles? Thank you.
Thank you. Quite a challenging question to put cost of electricity with increased investment. I think Tony and the Minister has covered the challenges that we face in Seychelles in terms of being a small island state. There's a limitation in terms of land area, hence the reason of looking at the sea. There's a limitation in terms of the grid stability itself. There's a limitation in absorbing that amount of energy that Tony talked about. I wrote it down, something like in the range of 400 megawatt of PV by 2050. How do we see this on my side in terms of growing the renewable energy and not affecting the cost? It's all to do. Normally, one would think that the LCOE of PV is more attractive than that of fuel, but the issue nowadays is the inertia. It's the battery storage that kinds like not have arrived and not put us at a very good appreciation with the technology. So yes, it's a bit challenging. It's not a straightforward answer to your question. It's to do with how do we evolve, how fast we go to achieve this target set by 2030 and 2050. And how do we package the financing, which is more important? Where do we get that resources? If it's in the private sector, if it's IPP to a larger extent, or if it's the utility itself trying to develop a bit to gain some kilometers in the cost as well, some leverage, some advantages, and it's all to do with how we put all that in the basket and measure the cost of arriving at these targets. It's an interesting roadmap that has been earmarked for us to go through. It's not an easy one. It's certainly not easy, and but it's one that definitely we cannot abandon along the way. It's one that we have to eventually get there. The will is there, and the push is there. That's what I can comment on at this stage in a contribution to your question.
Many thanks, Mr. Valmont. So my intention was not to put a very difficult question. My intention was to see how jointly and how we can address these issues. So that was my point. So many thanks for giving. Of course, it's a challenging part, but then there are ways to do that, and we jointly should look at the various ways to increase the renewable energy, especially solar. At the same time, the cost doesn't shoot up or it doesn't affect the people. Now, let me come to Ms. Cynthia Alexander, the Seychelles Energy Commission. So a regulator or an energy commission will have always a very balancing role to play in terms of planning of resources. So I would like to know your sense of how do you look at very comprehensively for the directions by which the country should proceed. So over to you.
Thank you very much. As a regulator, it's normally a difficult job, and being a regulator in an island is much difficult compared to normally being there. Yeah, we have already established minimum standards for all the system and components that we have been using in Seychelles. Right now, we are talking about including all the sectors. Like you saw when our PS was presenting, we have a climate change policy. Now, when PS Nancy was presenting, he was talking about introducing and exploring solar power systems for agricultural sector. So it is a very huge job from the regulatory point of view to make sure we have proper standards and compliance. This is not just in view of regulation, just to make sure the system is there. As we are creating the enabling environment for all the sectors to participate along with the economic finances from the private sector, it is very important to see how islands are located, irrespective of the fact that the PV panel cost is going down. We still have a high price because of our logistics, our transportation, our importation, etc. So also along with the same side, we have to see that the land scarcity is a very major issue when it comes to islands. And it is very important to make sure to choose the technologies that are already prevalent and well implemented all around the world, rather than trying and testing something, because we have to make sure we do not put waste into our islands. And along with going into new innovative technologies, we have to make sure to bring a proper waste management system, because all the resources that we are bringing in will go to the landfill, which again will create problem for us. So we have to think like on a futuristic view to make sure that there is technical support for the utility cover to take all the energy that are newly brought into the country. We have to make sure there is proper standard compliance to the products that we are going to import into our country. And we have to make sure there is along with the enabling skills, it is also the environmental, economical, and social point of view. We have to make sure we have the right skilled people to work, or we have to have the chances to create a certification, national certification, accreditation procedure to make sure whoever comes and work in these new technologies, they are skilled and they do a very good job for us. So as a regulatory point of view, we'll see, we just don't see, okay, shall I bring only renewable energy? Shall I do this sector? It is cross-cutting. So we have a big job ahead of us, which we are working on currently, and that's how we see as a holistic approach towards regulating the new market and adding our part to be the addressing the climate change impacts. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Nancy, Cynthia. So with that, let me come to the once again to Mr. Nancy. You had a very comprehensive presentation on agriculture dimensions of Seychelles. So what would be your recommendations or very important, say 5 points, which is as a wish list, which you would like to see with the current technologies or currently these cold storages are available, and considering the ground conditions there in Seychelles, what would be your 5 important in priority, which you would be looking from the technology providers or financial providers or the policy point of view? Thank you.
So, okay, thank you. With regards to the project, it will be mainly for the highly perishable product, like I've said in my presentations. And we're going to have that prototype on LADIG. So it's mainly for your highly perishable fruits and vegetables, so that farmers can sell them and can also store them, and also increase with regards to the value additions. And this will be, I think, the first phase, because for chillers, I'm not an energy expert with regards to cold storage, but what I know is that photovoltaic cell can be used for those chillers, 100%, so that farmers can store the perishable fruits and vegetables. But then the next phase will be with regards to meat products, so that it will be like cold storage now. Now we're talking about cold chillers, then we would like to go in the next phase of cold storage. But from what I've heard of cold storage is that we need to still develop the technologies, because you're going to store frozen meat product, and it will have to be a combination of photovoltaic and on-grid energy. So that's what we are targeting for. And from LADIG, we will like to outsource or even move the technologies to Prade, the second largest island, and even Mahe, so that the farmers on the island can use those technologies for the agricultural sectors. And this is the way forward. But then for the livestock sector, with regards to photovoltaic energies, even for the abattoirs, on the abattoirs, they want to put those photovoltaic cells. But the thing is that farmers, they were asking certain questions while we were meeting with them. They were asking that if they make the extra energy, that's where Cynthia comes in. If they make the extra energy, what will happen to that? And then this is also, it should be work in progress with regards to if they are making the extra energies and what will happen to that. So see there, we still need to have some discussion with regards to those lines. Thank you.
Many thanks for your response to that. I think it's very, we understand that for island countries, it's always a very difficult challenge in terms of the logistics, and also this economy of scale at times plays an important role. But we had a wonderful discussion now on the important issues. I think ISA would be always there to take to support Seychelles for all the aspects of increasing the solar in the country. I think this is a very small panel we had today. Now I would request Honorable Director General to give a concluding remarks before we come to the close. Yeah.
Honorable Minister, Mr. Secretary, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure that we have had a very successful session. Thanks to your participation from Seychelles, thanks to your participation in person here, we have been able to look at not only the challenges to the project, but to the challenges to solarization in general. We look forward to work closely with you, and I look forward to finding more and more opportunities to work with you. Thank you all very, very much.